As somebody who says at the beginning of pretty much every single video that this channel is about capsule wardrobing, finding your personal style, and slow fashion, I have a bit of a confession to make. I've been feeling pretty spendy lately. And I honestly think it would be really impractical to assume that every single one of the sustainable or slow fashion bloggers or vloggers, YouTubers, influencers, whatever, never ever feel like making a new purchase or like doing a huge shopping spree or a haul. Honestly, I feel like society is like kind of built for us to feel that way. And I'm not saying that's like a positive thing because I don't really think that it is, but I think sometimes it's just like the natural result of the world that we live in. And that's why it's important to pay attention to the way that you're feeling, especially when you feel like you want to spend some money, want to buy some new pieces, even though you might not actually need to. Today we're going to be talking about 6 tips that I use whenever I'm feeling a little bit spendy to really figure out, do I need to be spending more money? Do I need to be purchasing something else? Or could I take a step back and maybe hold off a little bit and save that for something that I truly need or not even spend it at all? So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. But before we do that, I want to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below about the tips that you use whenever you feel like purchasing a new piece, even though you might not really have to. Let's go ahead and get into the tips. The first thing that I do whenever I start to feel spendy is to ask myself why I might be feeling that way. And a lot of the time it's because I'm spending way too much time on my phone, especially on social media. And when I doom scroll on social media, or if I'm scrolling through my feed and I see a lot of influencers who are purchasing a lot of new things, it makes me want to purchase a lot of new things. And so, you know, that might be why. But another reason why, and you shouldn't be afraid of this reason, is because there might actually be a gap in your wardrobe that you need to fill. And you might be feeling that way because you actually legitimately do need to make a new purchase in order to make your wardrobe work really well for you. It's important to remember that the desire to purchase something new isn't always a negative thing. In fact, a responsible purchase that is well thought out and really mindful is totally warranted. I definitely am experiencing something along these lines as my beloved linen pants, which I've only had for a year, have just worn down absolutely terribly. There are holes all over the inside leg. I've tried to patch them, I've tried to fix them, and at this point, I think I'm just going to turn it into scrunchies and headscarves or something like that. And so I definitely know that I need a new pair of linen pants, and a responsible purchase to fill a gap that truly exists is totally worth it. So ask yourself why you might be feeling spendy, because it might not be a bad thing or just influence from the outside world. It might be a legitimate need that needs to be filled. But if it's not, there are also a couple things that you can do to kind of remedy the overall feeling or desire of going out and spending or shopping online for hours, filling your cart, buying it all, and then ultimately returning it all, which isn't really a great thing either. So let's move on to tip number 2, which is to limit yourself. What I mean specifically by limit yourself is create a 10 by 10 capsule wardrobe with the clothes that you already have. I find that forcing kind of boundaries and limits on your current wardrobe will ultimately make you be more creative with the pieces that you do have and make you feel overall more contented with those items. Sometimes limiting ourselves can allow our most creative selves to come out. So put together a 10 by 10 capsule. If you're not sure how to do that, I've linked a resource down below, but I also made a video about it probably a year and a half ago that I'll link up here. I'm also doing a 10 by 10 capsule wardrobe collaboration for the end of July, so definitely stay tuned for that. The third tip is to go back to basics. This is kind of like limiting yourself, but you're actually giving yourself your entire wardrobe instead of only picking out a couple of pieces. But going back to basics means going to some foundational pieces that you know have been your go-to for a really long time. And sometimes this means only dressing in those basics. For me lately, I have been really thriving off of just linen button downs and pants, usually shorts, usually comfy pants, and I've just been styling those several times a week. And I find that going back to basics can really kind of clear our slate, help us to recalibrate what we actually like, and refocus so that we're not getting distracted by all the pretty shiny things out there that could end up in our wardrobes for a season or two and then end up in the trash. The fourth tip is to get re-inspired. Now, this can be a little bit of a double-edged sword. So this is important to do really mindfully. I love getting inspired on Pinterest. I'm often pinning outfits to my capsule wardrobe board, which I have linked down below in the description. But I also find that if I spend too much time on Pinterest, that I can start to get kind of covetous or greedy and wanting the things that I see on Pinterest and figuring out where to find those items and shopping for those items. So it's important to go on Pinterest to be re-inspired with the sole purpose of shopping your wardrobe. That means going to your wardrobe and creating the outfits that you have pinned without purchasing anything new. This puts the focus on accessorizing and styling and working with what you own instead of buying new things and overloading your closet with things that you don't need. I think it's important to note also that getting re-inspired doesn't always just mean, finding outfits that you can copy, but can also be pinning and looking at photos or images that just feel inspiring in general, pictures of nature or art or listening to music or any of those things can make us feel creative again. And I think that's really important whenever we're starting to get kind of restless and we want to purchase new things. I find that I want to purchase new things whenever I'm stressed or restless and I just need a quick dopamine hit. But that's just certainly not the way to have a responsible closet. So sitting down, getting inspired, focusing on doing things that you love, images that you love, and things that all around bring you true pleasure and happiness and joy is a great way to recenter and not feel like we have to be purchasing things all the time. The fifth tip is to distance yourself from things that make you feel spendy. I mentioned in the first tip that whenever I start to feel really spendy, it's usually because I've been spending too much time on social media. So putting that away, unsubscribing from shopping emailing lists, and refocusing on what you already own is a really good way to just nip that feeling in the bud. It's also useful to take the gap that has been left by distancing yourself from social media or whatever it might be that makes you feel spendy and fill it with something that really truly brings you joy and makes you feel more creative, just like we talked about in the last step. And the sixth one is a little bit unexpected. It goes with kind of the first tip that we talked about. And that sixth tip is to go ahead and make a purchase. I like to validate this point by thinking of how you feel when you really want a chocolate chip cookie. Let's say you want a chocolate chip cookie just more than anything else in that moment. And there are chocolate chip cookies in your pantry, but instead you say, no, I'm gonna have some grapes, and then I'm gonna have some carrots, and then I'm gonna have a rice cake, and then I'm gonna have this and this and this and this. And by the end of the day, you're filled with things that you didn't even really want to begin with when you could have just taken care of the feeling and had a chocolate chip cookie. And I think this is kind of similar when it comes to spending. And of course, take this with a grain of salt. If you just allow yourself to spend money whenever, wherever, you're gonna find yourself in trouble. But sometimes purchasing one piece or one accessory that you know is going to inject new life into your wardrobe can be really, really useful. You don't have to beat yourself up for wanting to spend money or wanting to have what other people have. But what you can do is make sure that whatever addition you do make is going to really help your wardrobe in the long run and not just satisfy a short-term need that is eventually going to flare out, you're not going to wear it anymore, and it's just going to end up in the trash. So go ahead and make that purchase, but make sure it's versatile, goes with your current style, and will legitimately bring you joy and happiness instead of just giving you the short-term dopamine hit of clicking purchase. All right, so that's that for today's video. I hope that these tips were helpful for you. Now, I definitely am not perfect when it comes to this. Even though I try to be super mindful with my purchases, I do sometimes fall prey to marketing and influencing, and I think that we all do, and it's okay. But it's important to recenter ourselves, recalibrate, and just really check in with the way that we're feeling when it comes to spending money on clothes that we might not wear for a really long time. If you found these tips to be useful for you, or you can relate in any kind of way, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel if you like content about personal style, capsule wardrobing, or slow fashion. As always, thank you so much for watching. It's always an honor to spend this time with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!